All right, this recording is being recorded and summarized. New things we hear. All right, so awesome. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Bond, Virginia Bond, Bond like James, Virginia like the state. And I work at NARIC as a training specialist too. And you are here for a Google tips and tricks for the new and not so new educators. And the reason I always make this is because I feel like tips and tricks, I did this with a little bit more of a focus towards teaching about organizing for a new school year. So it's a little different than most sessions I've done in the past, but I thought, you know, this is a little different way to help. And just as we're working our way through this today, please feel free to reach out. If you just want to take notes, that's fine. By the end of today, you will have a copy of this deck as well as the recording. So no worries, you'll have all of that. So if you just want to follow along, that's fine. Start in present mode. So for those of you that don't know me, like I said, my name's Virginia Bond. I live in Malone, which is an hour north of Lake Placid, but yet still work for NARIC. I am in the Albany region quite often, usually every 3 to, well, I say every 3 to 4 weeks. That's during the school year. During the summer, this is my first week this summer that I'll be home for the whole summer, which is nice. And then I have 1 week in August as well that I'll be home for the whole week. But I am down there quite a bit. I just recently came back from Google Innovator Academy. So if anybody ever wants to know what that's about, let me know and I will definitely share. Just let's say it was a great 5 days that I spent in Chicago at the Google. At Google, not the Google. There's lots of Googles, but one of the many. Okay, so our agenda for today is to get 3 to 5 new ideas for the new school year. And by new ideas, I kind of mean tips and tricks, but I'm going to give you some organizational strategies as well that are going to help you. And then just to gain a deeper knowledge of Google tools. Now, this is one in a 2-day session. So the next session is next Monday, also at 8 o'clock. And what I did is I kind of broke it into like what I consider some of the big basics this morning. And then next week, I'm going to continue the conversation with some other tools as well. So if you only signed up for one session, you may, and you feel like you get enough, great. If you feel like you get through it, and you're like, ooh, I want some more. It's also in the catalog for next week as well. Also, a digital fluency standard as our standards, our New York State computer science standards become the norm this school year. Just to communicate and work collaboratively while using digital tools. You'll notice this is a 9 through 12. I'm counting us as 12th graders. Hope that works for you. Boy, I can't, it was a long time ago. I was a 12th grader, so it's okay. But that's a standard that we're expecting all of our students to have, so also all of our educators. All right, so I'm going to escape out of this and I'm going to do just a little bit of vocabulary, not a lot. You will see I have lots of things open here, and that's okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is the waffle. I like to start with vocabulary because it kind of level sets a playing field and everybody can be comfortable. So when we open a new tab, I'm going to just close a few. I'm going to close these personal rooms as they pop up. There we go. I'm going to open up this tab right there, and you will notice over here in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to make it a little larger, that this 3x3 array, that is called the waffle, and all things can be found in the waffle. So a couple things before we move any further. If you did not know, you may customize your waffle, as in you can take any tool and move it to the top. You can move it around. So it makes a lot of sense to take the tools that you use the most and put them towards the top. You'll see that Drive is right at the top for me because that's my #1 used tool that I use all the time. But if Mail is something you like, all you have to do is click and drag it around. That can get rid of some of the nonsense that you're not using all the time and move everything else to the top. One of the other vocabulary words that we're going to talk about is the Omnibox or the Omnibar. That is what we have typically called the address bar in the past. So it does have a real name, the Omni Box. I will never call it that because I'm still old school and I like to think of it as a bar. So it's the address bar where we type anything in. And then the caret. So anything that has a little down arrow in it, like right here, you can see right there, you can see a little down arrow. It could be an up arrow. It could be an over arrow. Okay, that's called a caret, not to be confused with a the orange one that we eat, but they are called carrots. I honestly usually call it a selector arrow because it's a little easier to remember. And the last thing is I'm going to use a little bit of shorthand during the day. And I always say RC in my notes, and it means right click. So you can do a lot of things with the right click. So that's the basics. All right, so tip number 1. As simple as this may be, oh, I guess I didn't want to give you any text, just a little bit about icons. Please learn your icons. There's a lot of reasons for this. You'll get better at them. If you're teaching students, they really should be learning their icons because you can do a lot of quicker work if you know what you're looking for on site rather than by name. So we're going to do a quick quiz. Oh my goodness, Monday morning, I'm going to push your brains. We're going to use the chat. I'm going to point and let's see how well you can do. Okay, so get your mouse right over there in that chat. We're going to be ready to go. So what is this icon right here? What's the first one I pulled out? Okay, tell me what that is. Woohoo, mail. Yay, you guys are all awesome. Look at, you started off Monday on a win. Isn't that awesome, right? Okay, let's do a little harder one. I don't think it's harder. The next one over that I pulled over is, right? Calendar. Ooh, somebody said meat. Yeah, meat is the one that looks like it has a camera on it. I didn't pull that one in there. Okay, awesome. Let's do one more just for fun. And this one, the blue one that I just moved over. Yep, docs. Nice job, Misty. Awesome. Fantastic. So kind of knowing those on site is going to be helpful as you work through things. And you'll notice when we go to start to talk about my bookmark bar, why I feel like that's really important. Teaching your kids what they look like is important. Now, if you come from a Microsoft world, okay, which some of us do, right? The good news is that there is an alignment across the colors. So Docs is the same as Word. Spreadsheets is the same as Excel. So Sheets is the same as Excel, both green. PowerPoint is a little bit more orange, but Slides is yellow. And then Forms is purple for both. So just simple way to learn that. Okay, so my second big trick is start everything the shorter way. Now, many of us, when we come in to use something within Google, we open a new tab, we go to the waffle, so that's 2 clicks. We go to Docs, and we click blank. So that, my friends, was 4 clicks. That is 3 clicks too many. So what we are going to do instead is I'm going to open a new tab. And in the Omnibar, I am going to type in docs.new. And that will very quickly allow me to open a new document. So this trick works for Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Forms. It also works for vids. If you haven't seen the brand new Google video, that's okay because it hasn't been released yet. It will be released at the end of August. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So those are 4 tricks that work great. It also worked with Jamboard. It'll still work with Jamboard until October, and then it'll no longer work because Jamboard's going away, which is sad. The other 2 that are big is drive.google.com or mail.google.com. So again, I'm going to open a new tab and I'm just going to do Drive, and you'll notice I've typed drive.google.com that my laptop knows what I want to do. Actually, not my laptop, it's my browser knows what I want to do. So I let it do its thing and it automatically goes into my drive. I'm using my other drive just to make it a little crazy. And so there. So it knows exactly what I want all the time. I like that, right? Because I want to save as much time as I can during a day. All right. So mail works the same way. So as we're talking through that, let's look a little bit at Drive. So I'm going to show you the down and dirty of what my Drive looks like, right? Everybody, some people have a Google Drive that is immaculate. So here's Miss Immaculate. It's right there. Look at that. Nice and clean. 6 floating documents. I like to call these the homeless documents. Here are my 6 homeless documents that don't have a place to live. All right, but then I'm going to show you the ugly. I'm going to show you the good and the ugly. Here's the ugly. Here's my NARIC Drive. Not quite so neat. All right. The reason for that is I am in the midst of cleaning this out. So I'm so proud of myself because I've moved a whole 6 gig out of here, which sounds like nothing. So most of us have unlimited storage in our school Google Drives. That sounds good. I'm kind of pushing the limit here with almost 260 gig. I promised my tech guys that I would clean that up so it wouldn't be so unseemly. So I'm working my way through it. But here's where I am. So let's talk a little bit about foldering. I love a school year folder. And you can see I have one right here. I have a 24-25 folder. Now, why do I have that and why is that so important to me? Because anything I build for this year is going to go into that folder, anything. So that when I go to look for things that I built during the 26-25 school year, that is the only place it's going to go. There'll be no other place for it to go because that's where it's going to go. I'm going to keep it nice and clean. So I make one of those for every school year and I will go back and show you. So here's my old ones in here. I got a 2021, 22, 23. Somewhere in here, there's a 2021, there's a 1920, right? I just keep those all together and it allows me to stay much neater. For a teacher, it's huge because number one, I'm going to make everything new in there, or I'm going to put everything new in there. And at least I know where my newest, latest, and greatest are. So my next trick is let's always think about folders inside of folders. In my Drive, I think a lot of us skip this area over here. So I'm going to go back out to my full Drive. And then I'm going to use the caret all the way on the left-hand side on the sidebar and use the My Drive. So a lot of us try to do this to move our stuff around, which is fine. But I have found probably an easier way is to use this sidebar because I can get all the way down into the nitty-gritty. So this is a folder inside of a folder, and I can even get this down a little bit more. I have a folder inside of a folder inside of a folder. So those folders that are embedded in, trying to be a little bit more organized. So here's an untitled document that I just created. I'm going to click and drag that over here. I'm finding this is an easier way to move things around because I can see the structure and the root folder all the way over instead of trying to move it here and then move it again and then move it again. Because I could have done that. I could have pulled it into here, but then I would have had to pull it in again, right? I would have had to do a task twice. Using that sidebar makes it a little bit easier way to function. Another thing that I don't really have in here, but one of the things that I like to say to people, if you can do your best to keep your folders at a minimum, these big folders, it's going to be easier to look through. So think very large as you're building your folders. You will notice in mine that I have some folders that are brown. You can put whatever color or name you want to, but why my stuff is brown? Because it's not my stuff, okay? It comes from somewhere else. And these are folders that are made by the product or the tool that automatically write to my Drive. So when I make a Google Classroom, the Google Classrooms feed into here, okay? And you can see how many I have. I just put them all together. I also have a Cami folder, I have a Moat folder, and I have a Screencastify folder. Those are all folders that are automatically made by those tools that feed into my Google Drive. So instead of trying to manage them, I just turn them brown, and it's kind of like a, hey, Virginia, don't touch those kind of idea. I also keep a stuff to clean out folder, a really technical term. But there are days when I want to be on a cleaning mode, and there are days when I definitely don't want to be in a cleaning mode. We all get that, right? So like I tried a Rocketbook for a while, so my Rocketbook stuff is in there, and I'm going to be like, do I really need to clean it out? Do I really need to? I need to look at it and see if it's stuff I need or not need. If I need it, I'll keep it. If I don't, I'll throw it out. But my goal is to get rid of as much of that as possible. So I just keep this folder in my drive as a little note to go in there and kind of turn it out. I mean, to turn it out, to clean it out as I find time to do so. Okay, so you'll also see that I use colors just because I see things better. So all you have to do is once your folder's made, right click on it. They have changed just a little bit. It's now called Organize. And if you're a teacher who gets really excited about colors, I do. There's more colors in here now, right? There used to only be like 8. They've given us more options so you can have a little bit more nuances in your life. I kind of like that. That makes me happy. I'm easily made happy, so it's good. Next thing, forcing folders. So you can force a folder order. You like to do that. I'll be honest. I love to do that. I'm going to take you into last year's folders right here. So here's all the folders that I have in my training folder from last year. So you'll see that 78 is at the top. And the way that you do that is I put a star on it. So what that does is it allows me to keep my most needed one at the top of the list. And then I use numbers for the rest of them. So I keep my folders, I number them, that helps them stay in order. Dates don't work because you can do like 6, 1, 7, 10, or 6, 1, or 6.1, 6.10, 6.11. They're going to go in order, but then 6.2 is going to go right after 6.1. I tried it, obviously, you could tell. So I went to numbers, and this works a little better. Alphabetical order works, kind of, except I'm never that, I want my stuff in order that I did them. So all I do is when I'm done is I rename this folder, the 78, and I take the star out, and it'll automatically shift to the bottom of the list, and then I don't have to worry about it because then it's in the order that I need it. That works for me. That's a simple way to do that. And then I have all my trainings just organized in there pretty simply. And you can see all the files that I have in there are things that I used during last school year. So that's one way to do it. The other way that you can do is you can also use X, X, Y, Y, and Z's at the end. So if I go back to the drive and you can see I've double starred, you can have a single star, double star, triple stars, will all stay at the top. And then I put Z's at the end, 1 Z, 2 Z's, and 5 Z's, right? That'll force to the end. I'm a control freak and I like to have my stuff where I need it. So that's one of the things that I do to make my life a little easier. Okay, the next thing. You can also, by the way, use icons in there. They're not going to help you organize them. They are going to help you find it a little easier. So you can see I have a few in there. I have to say somebody told me this was going to work for me. Doesn't work for me. I wish it did. It might work for students though. So if you can use icons that you can pull through. All right, my next one. So everyone's biggest problem is, how do I find things in my Google Drive? I can't find a thing. I hear this all the time. So the quickest way to do that is using the advanced search. So there's a little video down here when you get this deck back. You'll be able to watch this if you can't remember this process. but I'm going to show you how to get to it. And then we're going to do these 3 steps and we'll end here. So in my drive, most of us just type in this box. I'm going to come all the way over here and use the 3 lines. Once I click on that, I will then choose the type. Oh, this is the part I love. So I'm going to click presentations. And then I'm going to click the owner. So anyone owned by me, not owned by me, or a specific person. So let's say that someone shared a document with me. So I'm going to look for Cheska Robinson, right? Love this one. So your boss sends you something, she shares something with you. You have lost it in the abyss that is your Google Drive, because that happens to everyone. And now you can put in has the words. I am not looking for the item name because honestly, I don't know what it's called. When I look for the words has the words, I'm going to add in science to that. It's going to look for any presentation that Cheska sent me that has the word science in it or it's named that. So let's search and see what we find. I think we'll find one. Oh, we will find none. Even better. So it means for me, it's not here. So let's go back and we're going to try that search again. I guess I probably should have tried it. We'll try any. And it's going to be from Cheska that has the word science in it. And maybe it's not in here. I might try again. And we'll search. Oh, and this time I got 4 things. So this time it very quickly looks. The benefit of this is that Google is doing what Google does best, right? And it's a lot faster than you and I can look for that, because all that stuff is in my shared folder, of which I am not good with because it's a little bit too much like chaos. So using that advanced search, or you can even find your own things. Let's do another one. I'm going to reset it. I'm going to look for presentation owned by me that has the words tips and tricks. There they are. They could be anywhere in my stuff, right? So there's all my tips and tricks. There's a lot of them, sessions that I've done in the long run. So I just find that's a much better way to look for things, much easier, much quicker. Okay, next one, owning your tabs. Okay, so there are functions that you can do with your tabs without doing a lot. First of all, I can pin a tab. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to the tab I'm choosing. I'm going to choose the tips and tricks one I'm on right now. I'm going to right click on it and I am going to pin it. And what does that do? It makes it itty bitty. So an itty bitty little tab. What's the benefit of that? The benefit of that is that you'll notice that I can't just close it. I can't just exit out. So it's going to sit over there. Now, if you're like me and you close your browser every once in a while, if you have a pinned tab, those tabs will stay pinned, and when you reopen it, they will still be there, as in my mail. That makes me very happy because it means I don't have to open my mail all the time. I can just keep it. So you can see my email is just tabbed right over there, and that's where it sits, and then I don't have to worry about it. So think about things you're using. I also will pin things that I use all the time to make things a little easier to find. So that's one. You can also mute a tab. So let me go to YouTube quickly. So let's say I have music on a tab and I'm listening, to deep focus music on an early Monday. Oh, and I want to mute the tab because I definitely don't want to hear things like advertisements. So now it starts to play and I'm like, okay, and I'm going to right click up on there and I'm going to unmute the tab. So it's really easy to do that. A trick with this is that you can sometimes mute it by accident and then come in and not understand why it's not playing. But if you notice up at the top, you will get a little mute up there as well. So I love the muting of the tab. I'm going to I'll leave that muted for now. I'm going to have to remember that for later. Also in here, a couple others is close to the right, close all. Let's do this one first. Add tab to reading. So let's say that this was really important, and I want to add this to my reading list, I could come up here. Again, I right clicked and I can add a tab to the reading list. And everybody's like, okay, well, where did it go when you add the tab to the reading list? I think I clicked the wrong one. Add the tab to the reading list. It comes over here into your bookmarks and lists. And you will notice that you have a reading list. Okay, I'm just going to show my reading list. There it is. So how do I use this? Well, you can see I have a lot of things that are in here that I have used in the past. This is another thing I'm cleaning right now, right? But maybe I get an email that I know I have to read, but I just don't have time to do it right now. But it goes to a website or it goes to an article or there's something I want to read. I can add it to the reading list and it'll pop over there and then I can pop it open later. So just to review, you go to your 3 vertical dots. You go to bookmarks and lists, and reading list is right there. Show the reading list. I love that one. Another thing you can also do in here, so let's look at this one more time, is we can close to the right. So probably the one I use more than anything else is this. I will right click on the tab I'm on, and I will close tabs to the right, because I happen to sometimes open a lot of tabs at once and I like too many tabs. But then my brain goes, oh no, oh no, 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 no. What did you just do, you big silly fool? You need to reopen that. I'm going to show you how to reopen a tab 2 different ways in just a minute. So that's like owning your tabs. Anything right clicking on a tab gives you lots of options. So now let's talk about using the bookmark bar. Hoping that most of you guys use your bookmark bar. If you can't see it, there's a little video over here on the bookmark bar. You will come to the 3 dots, you'll go to the bookmarks, and you want to show the bookmark bar. So mine is under hide. So if yours looks like this, and you have no bookmark bar, you have tabs and you have the Omni bar, but nothing underneath it, you need to show your bar. So we're going to go 3 dots and we're going to go to bookmarks and lists. And there is show the bookmark bar. So we're going to get that back. I use this all the time. Here's how. I will find something I'm working on. And let's say it's this. Maybe I want to keep my email in there. And I grab the little icon at the beginning of the Omni bar and I pull it into my bookmark bar. And I now have a shortcut. So I love that. You'll notice mine is very clean because I just cleaned it up, right? My bookmark bar is clean. So I love using this because it's going to help you very quickly get to the things you need. So a couple other things that I like to do about this, I can also right click on a bookmark, click edit, and take it down. I can take the whole name down. I could just call it mail, right? So now it says mail. Or I could edit it all the way down to just the icon by taking out the name and clicking save. So think about those things that you use all the time in your regular day. This is, again, why I said, hey, learn your icons because it'll help a lot. So I'm thinking, Judy, I can see you. So if you have something you're using every day for transportation and you have to go find it, it's easier to pull it into that bookmark bar, take it down to a short name, and then you can just click it here instead of having to find it again. So those are those shortcuts that I use. So these are just mine. So you can see I have in Microsoft, Mail, Google Slides, Calendar, Mail, Frontline. Oh, my brain doesn't remember. Oh, Canva. I never remember that's there. Wonderopolis, iReady, Edpuzzle. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's a Google site for model schools. That's my Google site. That's my Google Drive. This is OneDrive in general. This is a coaching class I'm trying to finish. They're all right there where I can get to them. You also can add in a folder. So I can right click and on there, and I can add a folder. So we're going to add a folder right now. And we're going to call it the July 29th folder. And I'm just going to add it. And it's going to go right onto my bookmark bar. And it sits right there. Well, what's the benefit of having a folder? So I can click this and put it in the folder. So that was today's presentation. I could put my mail in the folder. And let's say I have a few other things. So I'm going to give you a quick trick here. Control-Shift-T is going to open the last training I have. And excuse me for just 1 second. Sorry, that's a superintendent. I usually have to answer the phone when they call. Okay, so let's say I'm going to put in a couple more quick tab entries. So Control-Shift-T will give me the last tab that I just had open. So let's say I really want this deep music because that's something I want. So, oh, I don't want to grab that. I want to pull it by the tab and I want to put it in there. All right, so then I'm going to close all these tabs again. Close my tabs to the right. So now I have a folder of tabs, right? I have a folder of bookmarks. So what can I do with that that makes things easier? So you can see I've added my bookmarks to the folder to open them all up. So I can right click on the folder and I can tell them to open in a new window. So I want you to think like, how do you use your tabs? What are the things that you need to use all the time? So if you don't want to pin your tabs, but would rather have a set of pages that open up automatically for you, you can do that by putting them all into a bookmark folder without having to come find a technician to come show you how to do that and save them all. That's number one. There are ways to do that in settings that are also like this, but this makes it editable for you. So maybe at the beginning of the year, your list is a little different than it is at the end of the year. So another thing that you can do and you can think about in here is that maybe you teach multiple subjects during the day. You can have multiple folders in there that are multiple subjects. Oh, you can have multiple class periods. You can have multiple units. Here's another thing that you can do. So I'm going to close this window right there. I'm going to go back to my original. I'm going to open this same exact thing like this. I'm going to right click on it. And I am going to tell it to open in a tab group, which is also another option. And you'll see it opens up a little window there and it asks me to pick a color. I'm going to pick purple and I'm going to tell it okay. And then when I click the tab group, they will all collapse together into a little group of tabs. Oh, so I'm going to click it again. They'll open back up and I'm going to come back up. I'm going to do that process one more time. I'm going to click this folder here, NARIC, and I'm going to tell it to open in a new tab group. There's 14 tabs in there. There's a pile of them. I'm going to make them blue, and then I'm going to click this, and they are all going to collapse once they all load. They will all collapse into one tab set, and you will see it has a name here. So they're all linked together. So for my teachers that are teaching multiple classes in a day, this is a great trick because you can get those tab sets to your first break and then you can do your next break. Yvette, thinking about you doing things with data, you can have your data sets set up like that, have them all open and they're all ready to go, and you can come back to them as you need to. So there's a lot of different ways to use that that are simple. You just kind of have to pre-think through what you want and how to use them. So I love using tab sets, tab groups. They call them tab groups, for my brain thinks of them as sets, but it's just a nice way to use them all. Okay, so remember I said there's like a new thing that Google created, and it's right here. And it's this little down arrow that if I go all the way to the end of my omnibar, up to my tabs, you'll see there's a little down arrow. brand new. I found it about 3 weeks ago, well, maybe 2 weeks ago. So here's all the tabs that I've opened in the last few minutes. If anybody has ever done this the way that I do this, and you're like, man, I know I had this open before, I just don't know where it went. I can't seem to find it. Where did it go? I'd go and look in my history and never be able to find it. You now have this little down arrow, and it'll show you all the tabs you've just opened or have had open until you close your browser. And then it shows you all the ones you closed. Oh, I kind of love this because I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. That's what I need right there, right? That's the one I'm looking for. So I can just click on that and it'll open in a new tab and it's ready to go for me. Keeps it very, very easy to find what I am looking for. Okay, that is a simple, simple solution. Keyboard cuts. Okay, get to your chat. We're going to do a quick little cheat here. We're going to do a quiz for actually. See how good you are at these. You ready? I'm not going to add the normal ones. I'm going to add the harder ones. What is Control C? Control C is go. Copy. Yay. Awesome. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to make it harder. Control F. What? People are like, oh, yeah, my favorite. Yeah, anybody that works in documents knows that's a find, right? Control F will find anything in a document. And it'll find anything in a document. It doesn't have to be in Google. It works on the internet. It works in state ed documents. It works in spreadsheets. It works in PDFs. It works on websites. One of my favorites. Control A. Oh, Control A. The harder one, isn't it? Not many people know that one. Yeah, there you go, Judy. Select all, right? It's gonna select all. Oh, I like how you said that, right? So it's gonna find the big things. Okay, I'm gonna show you the last four because these are the ones that are a little different. There's my little cheat. You know what? Did you see what I just did? All I did, I made a box over. This is a great way to build a slide for kids and ask questions. All I did was put a box on top of it. I could slide the box down little by little and give a little answer at a time, right? I could do that. All I did is ask a couple and then just delete it off. Pretty simple. You can also, I'm going to put the box back on. You can also move the box off to the side if you want to use it for a class again another time. So that's like a little cheat. So Control J works in your Chromebooks as well. It's the download folder. It's the folder that we always lose on a Chromebook because, you know, the kids go to download something or you do, and you get the like 10-second pop-up, but you're in the midst of doing something else, and then it goes to a folder and you're like, where in God's name did that go? I can't find it, right? It's in your downloads folder. It's so easy to use once you know where it is. And it's easy to access. It works on laptops. It always works in the Chrome browser. And really fun little tidbit, it also works in other browsers as well, like Mozilla Firefox and Edge. Everybody has started to use the same language, so the download folder is always in the same place. Control T opens a new tab. That's an easy one. Control Shift T opens the tab I just closed, like my music one. Okay, so that's easy as well. That's that little cheat that I just showed you that I use a lot. And Control N opens a new window. Okay, so a new window over the top. Simple, simple. All right, next one, here we go, moving on. As much as possible, my friends, include links, especially in slide sheets and docs. So let's say I want this link right here. I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to add in here to the slides. I'm going to use Control K because that's a link. And then I'm going to paste it in here. And now it's applied. So we really want, when we're making documents for kids, we want them to jump around a lot because it's going to make it life easier for us as well. Okay, so that's including links. All right, a new one. Anytime you make a new document, I'm going to challenge you to make it, name it, and put it away. So I will show you what I mean. Docs.new. All right, here's my document. I have made it. That's the make it. I am now going to name it. So I am going to call it Google for the new or not so new, right? There's my title. I'm going to make it a little larger just so I have things the way I like it, okay? And then I'm going to click into the title. I always name it. That over there gives it its name. I do it here first instead of here first. Because when I click over there, it'll take the first thing it sees as a name. And then I'm going to put it away. So I'm going to find the folder that I want to put it in. So my friends, this is why I have folders that I like. There's this one. I want to not move it. I want to view the contents. Then I want to put it in this folder, which is move it here. So the arrow opens the folder, move it, puts it away. Make it, name it, put it away. If you've ever worked with children and they have 850 untitled documents, you know the angst I have with that. If you've ever worked with teachers and they have 850,000 untitled documents, you know the angst I have with this, right? So make this your mantra. Make it, name it, and put it away. Teach it to yourself and teach it to your kids. As you get better at it, it will take you under 10 seconds. Make it, name it, put it away. And that gets rid of all of your untitled documents that you got to open them up and find where they are and when you made them because you don't know. Make it, name it, put it away. I don't know if I could say that anymore, but that will be something that will be important. So I'm going to stop for a minute. So right now, and we're about 15 minutes out from the end, give me one thing that you've learned so far. One thing, just type it in the chat. What's your one big one that you've picked up so far? Your one big component. And I am going to use that page right there. Awesome. Docs new. Oh, I love that. Color coding on the drive. Oh, folder ordering. Awesome. Those are some great options, right? And I'm going to tell you, I don't ever feel like I'm an expert in this. Oh, Susan, yeah. The download document, download folder. Yep, great. Awesome. Because that one is when kids are like, I don't know where it went. Like sometimes Virginia feels like, I don't know where it went either. It's all good. All right. So the next one, we're going to go into docs now. And for the rest, I'm just going to be in docs. So a couple things in here, margin defaults and page colors. So you will notice in this document that I just made that it is the color blue. Why does Virginia do that? Well, basically because white on white is not good for my eyeballs. I have a really hard time seeing white on white right now. I have found the older I get, and by the way, thank you for not laughing at my cursor. Everyone laughs at my massively huge cursor, but you can see it, and so can I. The older I get, the more challenged my eyes seem to get, even with new glasses. So I've gone to a larger cursor, which has made things much easier. And I've also changed the background on my pages. So how do I do that? So File, Page Setup, and Page Colors right in here. So I am using Pages, and I've taken my margins down to 0.5. Why do I do that? Honestly, because I rarely print anything. So if I'm only using things digitally, I don't need 1-inch margins. And I'm sorry if I've just set every English teacher off on a bad transient location, but hey, sorry, 2024 called, and you know, they would like to not be printing so much paper. So I take my margins out to 0.5. I take my bottom down as low as it'll go because, sorry, I had really bad thoughts there. It's okay. And then I change my page color. So you have whole document, you have half document. You will notice if you don't click whole document, you can't change the page color. So it's really easy to just change the page color. And then I set it as my default. Okay, so then I have these pretty page colors. So those are two things that you can do really easy. Your students can do this as well. And I think it's really good if you have a student with a visual acuity problem and they really want to see, you know, a yellow background so they can have blue text, you can do that. So that's a really good thing to think about. You'll also notice that I'm using a darker view so that like my whole drive is in dark. I have it in dark mode, not because I am like, you know, part of a stormtrooper or anything. I have that because it's a little easier for my eyes again. It's easier to look and see things on black than it is on white. All right, so that is my first one. Ooh, I have 13 minutes to go. Power through. So also using tables in documents. So insert a table like this, and you will put name, and then you can put Q1, Q2, Q3, okay? So have your students come in and they teach them that if they run out of space, that they just hit tab and it'll add more rows very easily. Have them put their name in and then answer across. As I start to type in here, you'll notice it automatically changes no matter what I'm typing, right? It gets bigger and bigger, okay, it doesn't matter. So what I don't need to worry about when I do that is that kids don't start to write on each other's stuff. Really, really important, because that's really good. Listen, and it's a great way to teach collaboration with students, right? Because you can have question 1, question 2, you can leave this over here for a comment from someone else. Another great way. Another good thing you can do when you come in, oh, how do you make the cursor bigger? Susan, stick around at the end and I will show you how, because it's very, very easy. No problem. So, oh, no, you don't want my email. I mean, if you want my email, let me know and I will send it to you willingly. That would be great. So teaching collaborations in a table and docs is a great way to do it because your kids are able to work back and forth, and it gives them their own space to work in as well. Okay, the next thing. So when we think about sharing a document, creating an email document by period is always going to be better. So here's why. If I share a document by link, if I just go into this document, change it so anyone with the link is an editor, and I share it to you by link, it's anonymous, right? So we know that. If I share it like that to you by anonymous, okay, that's all good. But if I come up here and I type in misty.healy@narek.org, right? And I put that in there, and then I put in cheska.robinson@narek.org like that, and I do those things like that, and I send, right? It's going to give me this error, and I'm all good. What happens when those people come in and they start to make edits on this document? I'm going to see who does that. So what I like to do is I like to make what's called an email document, and I have this sitting in my drive. I know exactly where it is because it's sitting in my it's sitting in my personal drive, in my folder, right? It's in my 2425. I know where it sits, so I have access to it at all time. It happens to be sitting in here for right now because I'm using it. And I would copy this list right here. I would copy it. I would come into my document. Sorry, I got a little lost. I would go up to share and I would paste them in. I'd make them all editors and say, they all know they're going to get this. And then the minute they come in, they can all edit this, right? And the good news is when I do that, I can see who's doing what things in version history. So if someone comes in here, I will be able to pop over here into version history and I'm going to see, well, Cheska did this and so what did this? And it's going to help me keep track. When I have this document built, you can have it whatever you want in here, whatever kind of list that you use all the time. You can copy and paste them in very easily, and then you have access to see who made what changes. Think about that by class period, okay? because it's a much, once you build it, you just got to have it. And if you were smart, and I know you are, you would click that document, right? Like this, and you'd throw it into your class 1 period like that, with your folder on your desktop, and then you'd have it. You'd open, copy, paste over, boom, boom, bang, right? You'd have that all ready to go. There are times when we want to have documents that are quick and easy. There are times when we want documents where we can track where the students are doing. Well, probably most of the time. Okay, next one. Let's talk about smart chips. These will just make you happy. If you have not used a smart chip lately, I'm about to blow your mind. So just be prepared. I'm coming down here. I'm going to go out of version history. I'm going to come to the bottom of this table, go to a new page. All right. So there's 2 ways to do these. They are activated with the @ symbol. There's the @ symbol. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a date. So here's today's date. Let's just pop that date in right there. Perfect. Okay. And we're going to move down just a wee little bit, and we're going to tell it okay. There we go. There's today's date. I use this all the time. So if I was going to say updated at date comes in today, I wanted to just throw in today's date, and I put my initials at the end of it. So I make myself do this every time I make a document and I make new changes to it, so that I am able to remember about when I did it. When's the last time I did this? When's the last time I made a change to that, without having to drop into version history? That's date. You can also add in people. No. Come on down. Add people. Oh, it got a little excited. And I want my people. It won't show. Oh, people are right here. Sorry. So what this does, this opens a smart card for that person. So think about being in a meeting with someone, or they didn't come to the meeting. You can click on this and it will open a detailed view. It'll tell me information about them. Okay. Try somebody else just so you can see. Let's do Cheska. There she is, right? I can open a detailed view of Cheska. It tells me this is someone I've already connected with, right? I can also send her an email from here. I could schedule an event from here. I could message her here. If I was using me, I could start a video call right from here without having to go out. Okay, so that's that. Those are simple. Let's do the next one. Let's do my favorite, which is a file. At file. These are the latest files that I put into the system, right? So here's an actual link to a document. Okay, right there. I can actually have files now be linked from document to document without being ugly. Oh, I love that. Non-ugly documents, right? That's awesome, like mind-blowing. There's one thing about this that's really difficult. It is not, you cannot search in here. When I type F, it's going to go to file, but it doesn't look neatly. So the trick that I have found that works very well is if you come in here and you open up this document and say, this is the one I want, and you copy it, copy this document name, go back here and go to at and type the file name. Just paste it, excuse me. And then I get it. That's the easiest way I've seen to do it. Grab it out of the drive, the name of it, not the link, and pull it in. This works so well for students because they can say, oh, yes, I want it to be called bond student document. Okay, the next one in here that's mind-boggling is the at drop down. If you haven't been using drop downs in your life, let me assure you that these will change your life in a classroom. They don't like me today. At drop down. There they are. So there's the smart chip. I'm going to make a new smart chip. I'm going to call it my team name. Team. And then I'm going to add in things, right? So this could be like kindergarten. First, I don't want to type out things because I'm too lazy today. Second, third, and then I'm going to color code them. Red, orange, yellow, green, save. Okay, now I have a drop down. How in the world would I use this? So I'm going to copy my drop down and I could put it up in here. Choose your grade level or choose your name, or think about younger kids, like kindergarten kids that can't put their name on things, right? Come in and put your name on it. Pick your, right? And then answer these questions. So drop downs can be made for anything. You saw that I just copied a drop down. One of the suggestions that I like to make for people is create yourself a drop down document, right? Here's my drop downs, and then copy them from document to document. Judy, in your world, I think that would be something like by building, by bus driver, by route, whatever. Build it, and then you have it. Build it, and they will come. That's what we should just say about this one. Drop downs are awesome. The fact that you can color code them, I use them all the time now. I'm like, ooh, where's that drop down that I know I built? That's a huge one. My next one is a building block. So building blocks are a little different, but they function the same way. I'm going to show you the other way to put these things in. Insert building blocks. I'm going to do a minute note, meeting notes. I'm just going to click that. I'm going to come here. Okay, we're going to pretend that there's a meeting associated with this training right here. All I did was click it. Because it was in my calendar, it automatically pulled everything in, including the people who were attending. Now I can just take notes, and then I can put action items down here. Love this because I don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I don't have to make that. Google makes it for me and I can edit it. Okay, let me give you a couple more in here. Insert building blocks, and let's do a review tracker. And let's put it down a row. So here's a review tracker. Oh, it's a table that's using drop downs. Say what? Right? These are editable. So maybe this isn't the one I want. Maybe I take this one out. And I'm going to put in mine, right? I want this one out. I click on it to get rid of it. And I paste my kindergarten one in. And now I have it in there. And I can take notes. I can actually put a file in here. So I want you to think about the things you keep track of. And the thing I love about it, my friends, is that you can actually sort these. I have told people for years, don't use docs because you can't sort in a table. Guess what you can now do? You can sort in a table. Woo, woo, right? Fantastic. Only in these. These are also editable. You can insert rows above, below, columns to the left, columns to the right. Whatever you want, you can make. Trust me, I promise. Okay. Using styles. So I'm going to click on it's great for navigating through some of your longer documents. This is my last one, so I'm going to take 1 minute. You can create any kind of template that you want for your students. So here's a parent document that I made. A document, and like you can see, this is just example. Man, if you want these, please just take them, right? This is a document. It came out of COVID, but man, this is smart. One document, one link that you use for the entire year to communicate with families instead of one every week. And what you do is you use these things right here called styles. If I highlight this and I click on this and I make this a heading 1, it comes over here into the outline, right? And then your people can jump all over the place. Put the newest on top, old on the bottom, newest on top, and you have a running document so you don't ever have to reinvent the wheel. So what I did is I made one for parents and one for students that are both in there. So my friends, I am going to stick around for questions. I'm going to actually turn the record off. After today's session, a little later today, I will get the recording back. Once I have that back, I will load it to YouTube. I will get you the link and the deck sent out today and a Google form. So now anybody that's ever taken a session with me in the past, I'm changing things up just a little bit, just not to be annoying, and I hope you don't hate me. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions in that Google form. I am asking everyone to fill it out just so that I can get some feedback for some other things I'm doing as well. And I'm going to ask you if you're looking for anything new. that maybe I didn't cover. I'm going to ask just a couple questions just in general. So I hope you're okay with that. Here's my contact information if you need it. Please feel free to reach out. Susan, I'm going to stick around. I'm just going to stop the recording button, and feel free to stick around if you have any questions. Thank you so much.